Timothée Chalamet
Yes.
hasn't had a good Oscar campaign. Now, the best thing that happened to Michael B. Jordan, the best thing that happened to Sinners was hiring that guy to say at the BAFTAs.
What a take.
That was the best thing. That was the best PR.
Just slow down for a second. I just want to give you a little chef's kiss right here.
That was the best PR.
Because now the Oscar's like, man, if we don't give it to him.
You see what I'm saying?
The conversation around Timothée Chalamet and Michael B. Jordan didn't start as a scandal. It started as a critique of Oscar campaigning, who did it better, who didn't. But then it turned into something much bigger. According to Charlamagne the God, the defining moment of the entire award season wasn't a performance, a speech, or even a win. It was a disruption. A racial slur shouted during the BAFTA Awards ceremony while Jordan stood on stage with Delroy Lindo. That moment was real. It was broadcast. And it forced public apology.
Why hire a PR?
Why do you have to campaign? It's just the work should...
It should be put up, but you still got a campaign. So why just hire a PR to book you on a bunch of late night shows, put you in a bunch of magazines? Go hire Machine Gun, right?
Hire a Tourette's guy.
Put the machine gun in the auditorium.
Give him a mic because they mic'd him up.
Apologies from both BAFTA and the BBC. But Charlemagne's claim goes further. He suggests that what should have been a scandal about institutional failure became something else entirely, a turning point that benefited Jordan's Oscar campaign. In his words, the incident wasn't just damage, it was leverage. And that accusation didn't land quietly. Jamie Foxx stepped in almost immediately, publicly defending Jordan and celebrating his win. But instead of shutting the narrative down, the response amplified it. What was supposed to be a defense became fuel. Now, the story isn't just about an award, it's about what that award represents. Because here's the uncomfortable reality. Oscar campaigns have never been just about the work. They're about visibility, narrative, and momentum. The industry knows this, it's not new. What is new is attaching that reality to a moment of racial trauma that everyone witnessed in real time. That's where the controversy locks in. If Jordan's team did nothing, the theory collapses. But if they recognized the moment's impact and allowed it to shape the narrative, then the win starts to look different. Not just earned, but engineered. And that's a line Hollywood doesn't like to admit exists. Meanwhile, the facts remain unchanged. The slur happened. It was broadcast despite a delay, BAFTA issued an apology, and multiple voices, including industry figures, raised concerns about how the situation was handled. Those facts give the accusation just.
They hired the guy to say...
So are you saying that he should be grateful that... What are you saying?
I'm saying that he's going to win, right? By the way, he should win anyway. I mean, he played 2 goddamn roles in one movie. He played 2 twin brothers and made them both very distinctive. It was a great acting job from Michael B. Jordan. But you still got a campaign.
There's no clean move left. At the same time, the debate has grown beyond him. Some see this as proof that awards season is a calculated game, where narrative can outweigh merit. Others see it as an unfair cloud placed over a performance that, by many accounts, deserved recognition on its own. And that contradiction has no easy resolution. Even if no evidence ever surfaces, even if the BAFTA review finds nothing beyond institutional failure, the perception is already out there. And perception in Hollywood is everything. Because once a win becomes a question mark, it never fully goes back to being just a win. What started as a moment of humiliation has turned into a permanent debate about power, narrative, and how success is really built behind the scenes. And now the question isn't whether the accusation is true, it's how long the shadow it created will last. Here's a more intense, high-drama rewrite with sharper pacing and stronger narrative tension. It was supposed to be a straightforward awards season. Timothée Chalamet had momentum, Michael B. Jordan had the performance. And then, everything changed. Not because of a film, not because of a speech, but because of a moment no one could ignore. At the BAFTA Awards, while Jordan stood on stage with Delroy Lindo, a racial slur cut through the room, loud enough to be heard broadcast, and impossible to erase. It should have been a scandal about the institution. Instead, it became something else. Because when Charlamagne the God spoke on it, he didn't call it just a failure, he called it strategy. He suggested that the most shocking moment of the night, a moment of real humiliation, may have quietly shifted the entire Oscar race. That what looked like chaos might have been turned into momentum, not created, but used. And that accusation hit different. Because it didn't rely on rumor, it relied on something everyone already saw. The slur happened, the broadcast aired it, The apologies came after.
Change the tide. You get the guy.
Momentum was going with Timmy.
It was going with Timmy. You get the plant to go there at the Tourette's joint.
And that's why they probably left it in the edit, even though they cut out the other
You
stuff.
see what I'm saying? Yells
Now,
out.
Oscar, you go take that little BAFTA. Whoever got the BAFTA.
Michael. No. He didn't win the BAFTA. Michael won the SAG, which increased his chances of winning the Oscar.
So now the question isn't if the moment mattered, it's how it was handled and by who. Then came Jamie Foxx. Stepping in with a forceful public defense, Foxx tried to shut it down, praising Jordan, celebrating the win, drawing a line. But instead of ending the conversation, it escalated it, because now it wasn't just a theory, it was a fight. And fights make people pay attention. Suddenly, what started as a radio take became an industry-wide tension point, the kind that doesn't fade because too many people understand exactly what's being implied. Here's the part no one wants to say out loud. Oscar campaigns are not clean. They are built on timing, narrative, and perception. Late night appearances, headlines. Momentum swings, that's the game. But attaching that game to a moment of racial trauma, that changes everything. Because now the story splits in two directions, and neither one resolves cleanly. If Michael B., Jordan did nothing, then he's the victim of a horrific public moment. But if that same moment helped shift the narrative in his favor, even passively, then the win becomes complicated. Not invalid, but complicated. And that's where the damage lives. Because Jordan can't fix this. If he speaks, it looks like control. If he stays silent, it looks like confirmation. There is no version where this disappears. Meanwhile, the BAFTA fallout continues. Reviews, statements, unanswered questions, and
Michael B. Jordan's gonna win the Oscar Sunday. You know why?
Because he got a great team behind him.
He's got a great team behind him, and he's had a great
team
Oscar campaign. We were just talking about Timothy Chalamet, and I was saying I don't think Timothy Chalamet had a good Oscar campaign.
We got Tourette's, bro. I just want to let you know.
No, we
it's
don't.
a version of it. It's a
little bit, but I didn't.
Yeah.
No, what it is, I forget. But I just want you to remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
every new detail doesn't close the story. It stretches it. Because the deeper this goes, the more uncomfortable the bigger question becomes. Not did this happen, but how often does something like this happen just without the spotlight? That's why this won't fade. Because this isn't just about one actor or one award. It's about the system. And once people start questioning the system, they don't stop at one case. So now, Michael B. Jordan's Oscar isn't just a win anymore, it's a debate, a case study, a dividing line between those who believe in the work and those who believe in the machine behind I.
Where do we begin? Michael B. Jordan's winning the Oscar Sunday. Well, first of all, let's take a step back. How are you?
It's impossible.
How are you?
Yo, it's impossible.
How the are you?
Here's the thing, bro.
I said, how are you?
Listen, I'm great.
How are you?
I'm great, man. I'm great.
How
Not
are
as
you?
great as Michael B. Jordan.
And the worst part? The truth might never fully come out. But the doubt? That's already permanent. At first, it looked like momentum. Timothy Chalamet rising, Michael B. Jordan closing in, 2 careers, 1 award. A familiar race, but the moment that changed everything wasn't supposed to matter. At the BAFTA Awards, in a room built to celebrate excellence, something broke. A voice from the audience. A racial slur, not whispered, not hidden, heard.
I stand here because of the people that came before me. Sidney Poitier, Denzel Washington, Halle Berry, Jamie Foxx, Forrest Whitaker, Will Smith, and to be amongst those giants, amongst those greats, amongst my ancestors, amongst my guys. Thank you, everybody in this room and everybody at home for supporting me over my career. I feel it. I know you guys want me to do well, and I want to do that because you guys bet on me. So thank you for keep betting on me.
Broadcast, recorded. For a few seconds, the illusion slipped. Delroy Lindo stood there. Michael B. Jordan stood there. And the industry did nothing. No immediate intervention. No protection in the moment. Just silence followed by delayed apologies. That should have been the story. Institutional failure, public humiliation. A system exposed in real time. But then the narrative shifted. Because when Charlamagne the God spoke, he didn't focus on the failure, he focused on the aftermath, on what happened next. His claim wasn't that the moment was fake, it was that the moment was useful. That in an industry where perception decides everything, a moment like that doesn't just disappear. It moves things. It changes conversations behind closed doors, it reframes narratives, it creates gravity. And gravity pulls awards. That's the accusation. Not that the pain wasn't real, but that the impact didn't stop there. And once that idea entered the conversation, It didn't leave. Because it fits just well enough, the facts don't argue with it. They sit beside it. The slur happened. The broadcast aired it. The apologies came too late. Everything needed for doubt already exists. Then came Jamie Foxx. A public defense, strong, immediate, emotional. But in trying to close the door, he may have kicked it wider open, because now it wasn't just commentary, it was conflict. And conflict turns speculation into something louder, something harder to ignore. Now, the silence matters. Michael B. Jordan hasn't addressed it. And that silence has become its own language. Because in this kind of story,
God is good. God is good. And, yeah, mama, what's up? Y'all know how I feel about my mother and my father's here. Your pops, where you at? My dad came in from Ghana. He flew in from Ghana to be here. My brother, my sister's here. My family. I want to thank Warner Brothers. I want to thank Mike and Pam for believing in this dream, this vision of.
It feeds it. Every day without a response adds weight. Every headline fills the gap until the absence of words starts to sound like an answer. And this is where it becomes impossible, because there is no clean version of the truth anymore. If Jordan is only a victim, then the industry failed him in full view of the world. If the moment also shifted his campaign, intentionally or not, then the system did what it always does. It absorbed the shock and turned it into momentum. Both things can exist at the same time. That's the paradox. And paradoxes don't resolve, they linger. Meanwhile, the BAFTA review hangs in the background, an investigation meant to restore credibility. But now it carries a different weight, because no matter what it finds, it won't settle the argument. If it confirms deeper failures, it strengthens the theory. If it finds nothing, it will be questioned anyway. There is no outcome that resets the narrative. That moment is locked in, and so is what came after it. Because this was never just about one night, or one award, or even one actor. It's about what people already suspected, that behind every win is a machine, and sometimes that machine runs on moments no one can control. Or worse, moments no one wastes. So now, Michael B. Jordan's Oscar lives in two realities at once. In one, it's a career-defining achievement. In the other, it's a question that never fully goes away, and the longer no one answers it, the louder it gets. This wasn't supposed to be controversial, it was supposed to be inevitable. Michael B. Jordan, rising for years, delivering one of the strongest performances of his career, finally reaching the moment the industry had been building toward. Across from him, Timothée Chalamet, the critical favorite, the momentum pick, the one many believed had the edge. Two narratives, one winner, and then something happened that didn't belong in either story. At the BAFTA Awards, the room cracked. A racial slur, loud, undeniable, cut through a ceremony designed to low.
So when I think about what this does for Michael B and what this does for Michael B's legacy, it now catapults him in my mind and solidifies him as creative genius. Not to mention, when you think about the icons that came before him, you mentioned the Portier, you mentioned the Denzel, you mentioned the Forrest Whitaker, you mentioned the Will Smith, but then on the flip side of the black women, you got to talk about the Viola Davises and talk about the Halle Berry.
The conversation around Timothée Chalamet and Michael B. Jordan didn't start as a scandal. It started as a critique of Oscar campaigning. Who did it better? Who didn't? But then it turned into something much bigger. According to Charlamagne the God, the defining moment of the entire award season wasn't a performance, a speech, or even a win. It was a disruption. A racial slur shouted during the BAFTA Awards ceremony while Jordan stood on stage with Delroy Lindo. That moment was real. It was broadcast. And it forced public apologies from both BAFTA and the BBC. But Charlamagne's claim goes further. He suggests that what should have been a scandal about institutional failure became something else entirely, a turning point that benefited Jordan's Oscar campaign. In his words, the incident wasn't just damage, it was leverage. And that accusation didn't land quietly. Jamie Foxx stepped in almost immediately, publicly defending Jordan and celebrating his win. But instead of shutting the narrative down, the response amplified it. What was supposed to be a defense became fuel. Now, the story isn't just about an award. It's about what that award represents. Because here's the uncomfortable reality. Oscar campaigns have never been just about the work.
It is about Michael B. He became the sixth black performer to win Best Actor at the Oscars, joining a list that includes Sidney Poitier, Denzel Washington, Jamie Foxx, Forrest Whitaker, and Will Smith himself. What does this mean for Michael B. Jordan?
They're about visibility, narrative, and momentum. The industry knows this. It's not new. What is new is attaching that reality to a moment of racial trauma that everyone witnessed in real time. That's where the controversy locks in. If Jordan's team did nothing, the theory collapses. But if they recognized the moment's impact and allowed it to shape the narrative, then the win starts to look different. Not just earned, but engineered. And that's a line Hollywood doesn't like to admit exists. Meanwhile, the facts remain unchanged. The slur happened, it was broadcast despite a delay, BAFTA issued an apology, and multiple voices, including industry figures, raised concerns about how the situation was handled. Those facts give the accusation just.
To me, you now have to usher Michael B. Jordan into the conversation of creative genius. Because now, when you think about what Michael Jordan's been capable of doing, remember, go back to Creed 3, where he both directed and starred in that film, where he both directed and starred in that performance. Now you talk about Sinners. Sinners was a movie we all went to go watch together as a show at the previous network. Now you talk about Sinners, where he played not one but two characters. You're now starting to see Michael B's reign.
And the worst part? The truth might never fully come out, but the doubt? That's already permanent. At first it looked like momentum. Timothée Chalamet rising, Michael B. Jordan closing in, 2 careers, 1 award. A familiar race. But the moment that changed everything wasn't supposed to matter. At the BAFTA Awards, in a room built to celebrate excellence, something broke. A voice from the audience, a racial slur, not whispered, not hidden, heard. Broadcast, recorded. For a few seconds, the illusion slipped. Delroy Lindo stood there. Michael B. Jordan stood there. And the industry did nothing. No immediate intervention.